Welcome again. In the previous episode, we discussed why we have to go for big data analytics, and then what are all the prime advantages of using that big data analytics. So now we have to switch over into our present topic, that's Lambda architecture. So before entering into the core concepts of that Lambda architecture, so let me introduce why that Lambda architecture needs. Meanwhile, somebody asks, so is it to use the Lambda architecture or some other futuristic parameters is there? For that question, the answer is yes. So the Lambda architecture, that's the one foundational concept. And apart from that, we are having that another one kind of that architecture. It is called that HDFS. HDFS is called the Hadoop distributed file system. So that's also providing the more futuristic way of data delivery. So you may ask another one question. So what is the prime difference between the traditional data management system and to this kind of database management system? The answer is the traditional database management system. We want to go up with live streaming. I wouldn't able to transmit the data so lively either from the NoSQL or from that SQL. So that's not possible. In case if I want to transmit my data lively. So initially what I said in that previous episode, we are having that variety of the data. So not only the numerical values. So we may have that text, or we may have that audio, or that video, or that some movies, or that any live streams or something. So many file types can able to be accommodated by this kind of that architecture. So another one parameter let me want to share with you. So all these parameters comes under the huge volume of size. So that's the major bottleneck issue to store and also handle the data. For all these problems, so the problems arise in that live streaming, so that everything is giving the affordable solutions through by this kind of that architecture. So that's base architecture is called, that is the Lambda architecture, and then so next one advanced and frequently used architecture is called, that is the Hadoop file systems, that is the HDFS. So in the HDFS, it's having that prime concept is called, that is the map reduction. So in order to handle the huge volume of the data, for implementation of that map reduction, there is so many tools. So like Hive and then Pick. So these are all the famous tools to implement the map reduction for the HDFS, that is the Hadoop file system. But now we are going to see, so what going to happen in the Lambda architecture in case if you want to stream lively, so with less resources and then with less delay, and then with medium level of security parameters, and you also don't want to collect the feedback from the subscribers or the customers, you may opt the live streaming option based on this Lambda architecture. This Lambda architecture so provided the beautiful way of solution to you when you are going with a medium level of the transmission. So this option seems to be the number one. So now we have to be look over into what is the Lambda architecture. So what we are going to be learn in this Lambda architecture. And then number one, the Lambda architecture can able to handle the massive quantities of the data. So what we discussed in that, so big data. So even in that big data, I can't able to go with that live streaming. But in case if you want to stream all this big data, you can able to go with the Lambda architecture. So it can able to be handle massive quantities of the data, and it's having this Lambda architecture. In later slides, I'm going to explain. So what are all the steps behind in that implementation of the Lambda architecture. So there we can able to be see there is the two parameters. One is called, that is the batch, and then so stream processing. So it's having a combination of both batch and then so stream processing. And what do you mean by that batch? So we can able to be allocate the set of the data into that one group, and then so processing and stream it. So before emptiness of that batch number 1, the batch 2 that has been loaded, and then so batch 3 is loaded, and then batch up to that batch n that has been loaded. So the streaming seems to be there continually. So when we are handling that huge volume of the data, just we have to group the data as that batch by batch, and then so stream it into the live. So this is the simple process behind this Lambda architecture. And one more thing we have to be emphasize that to achieve the balance between the low latency and then so real-time data processing. So if you are receiving that the data in the real, and then there is no more delay that should be in the transmission also. So in theoretical we can able to say there is the zero delay, but in practical there is less possibility. Instead of saying that less, there is no possibility, since every electronics component having that certain level of latency. But we have to keep that is the very low latency in order to give the liveliness of the data transmission. And then finally we have to be give with a comprehensive, accurate batch analysis. So this is these are all the objectives of the Lambda architecture. Okay, and then so what is the core Lambda architecture principles? So we are going to be first of all understand what is the basics of that Lambda architecture, and the next we are going to be see about what are all the key insights of the big data processing, that Lambda architecture, and then how the roles of the individuals in the data processing, so that has been handled in that Lambda architecture. And then so continuous episode we are going to be see about the architecture, and then so benefits of that Lambda architecture.